Good day, subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Jeremy. This is the Financial Education Channel, and today we're talking about how do you know when a recession is coming? I get you guys so often asking in that comment section, how do you know when a recession is coming, Jeremy? If a recession was coming, Jeremy, how are we supposed to know that? Well, the real answer is there's no way to really predict out 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 18 months from now that there will be a recession, there won't be. But I'm going to give you guys 10 exact signs that if you see these signs happening, guys, these 10 things, or maybe 5 of these 10 things, 8 of these 10 things, if you see that, guys, you know you should probably start running for the exits because it's probably about to get ugly, guys. So I'm going to enjoy sharing this with you so you know if you've never been through a recession and you're just wondering how to predict it, you will know exactly how to do it now, guys. So let's get right into this. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed today. Number 1. Weakness seen in your business, if you're a business owner, weakness seen in your business, weakness seen if you work for somebody, their business, or just talking with family, friends about the companies they work for, or if they own companies, like how their business is doing in general. If you see a lot of weakness as far as like, your friend over there, he's saying, man, our business has been a little slow this month. You know, it's way under what we did last month, or it's quite a bit off of what we did last year. And you're seeing that in the business you work for or you own. You're seeing that in this friend. If you're seeing a consistent trend that all of a sudden everybody seems to kind of be down about numbers, all those kinds of things, if you're seeing that in your personal life, then there's a good chance a recession's coming. I mean, and it can't just be like, oh, you own one business, right? And your business just had a struggling month. That doesn't mean anything. But if there's a consensus around your friends and your family as well, they're all struggling as well, and things are getting a little worse for them, then you can start putting some weight into that and saying, okay, I got 5 friends, all of them say their sales are down. That's a little strange. My business I work for, their sales are down. Then you're starting to see a trend. So look around your personal life first and foremost and try to see some trends that are happening there. If you've seen some down trends, it's probably going to mean some bad things are about to happen. Number 2. You want to look at the unemployment rate and see if it's rising. If the unemployment rate all of a sudden starts to tick up a bit, and it does that a couple months in a row, like 2-3 months in a row, that is definitely a sign to worry about. So pay attention to the unemployment rate, see where that's going. Number 3, this is probably more important than the unemployment rate, jobs reports. If there's 2 or 3 months in a row where jobs reports come in clearly very weak, well under consensus estimates, if they miss estimates 2-3 months in a row as far as the jobs numbers goes, that's definitely a big worry out there. That's definitely something you should start paying attention to and saying, uh-oh, are things about to get ugly? What's going on here? But you don't want to just focus on 1 month. If it's just 1 month, it could just be a one and done month. Something could have happened in the weather. Maybe it was way colder than expected and not as many construction workers were hired or something like that. So don't just put all your weight in 1 month. But if it's 2-3 months in a row when these job numbers come in weak and they come in well under consensus estimates, then you need to start to worry, and that's definitely something to pay attention to at that point. So that combined with the unemployment rate, definitely some big factors there. Number 4, you want to look for revisions downward in the monthly job numbers. So every month, job numbers come out, right? Then sometime during the course of that next month, they either revise those numbers up or down because generally speaking, those numbers are not exactly perfect. So sometimes they revise them up, which we've seen a lot over the last couple of years. The revisions will go up a little bit, and the jobs numbers are actually better than expected when it's all said and done, and the numbers are really calculated fully. But if you see several months, 2-3 months in a row, all of a sudden job numbers are reported down. They're missing estimates, and then on top of that, they're being revised down. They were actually worse than what the government thought originally. That is definitely something to pay attention to, and that's all public information. That's all put out there every single time a jobs report comes out, guys. So pay attention to that. See those revisions. If all of a sudden 20,000 jobs were not there that they thought were there, it's not a good thing. Number 5. If more than half the public companies out there are missing revenue numbers that were expected by them, that is definitely a big sign to worry. Why revenue numbers specifically? Well, revenue numbers are a better indicator of the overall economy. Net income can be kind of controlled a bit by the company itself, right? Net income, they could lay off some employees here and maybe so they meet numbers, or they could just find some synergies here. They could sell off a business, which makes their net income look better. Things like that. You can kind of trick net income a bit. revenue numbers, you can't trick that crap. So if more than half the public companies are reporting revenue numbers that are not meeting analyst expectations, or even more importantly, the company's expectations, because almost every single company puts out a yearly guidance, or they put it out every quarter, right? They say their numbers. If more than half of them are missing those revenue numbers, that means the economy as a whole is definitely weakening or just becoming weak in general, guys. Number 6 here. Companies giving weak guidance. So after they report that quarterly report that maybe is not so good, a lot of them will probably report weak guidance. So the numbers they're going to say for the next 3 months, for instance, if they report some numbers and they say, oh, we're going to expect down year over year, or growth is going to slow substantially, if a massive amount of companies are doing that, a huge sign to worry, because those CEOs, whenever numbers come out, they're generally for the last 3 months, and then they have like a month to get those numbers together, right? Then they come out with the quarterly report. So they've already seen what happened the last month. So if they've seen the last month and they kind of see what future orders and backlog and those kinds of things are, and those aren't looking so good, they're gonna do a really weak guidance number. And if you start seeing company after company doing weak guidance, that's definitely a big sign of uncertainty and a lot of worry out of big CEOs and CFOs of these huge corporations, guys. So definitely pay attention to that. Number 7, if banks start to report more loan losses than expected, if this bank and this bank and this bank over here, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Citigroup, if these banks are starting to report a lot more loan losses than expected, another huge ding, 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 something going wrong with the economy. Because when people default on loans, that's generally because they lost their job or they came upon a financial hardship or something. And if it's consistent around this bank and this bank and this bank, and everybody's reporting more loan losses than expected, it's definitely showing some weakness in the underlying economy. Because like I said, when people don't pay their loans off, it's generally because they lost their job or something happened with their business or something like that, guys. They don't just stop paying their car, paying their house, paying their credit cards because they're doing great, believe me. So a huge one to pay attention to there, and that you can find out whenever banks report their quarterly numbers. That's all public information as well, loan losses. Number 8 here, guys. If you see leisure companies having very weak guidance, and I'm talking really weak, like way under what they were thinking, then that's a huge worry. So pay attention to a lot of leisure companies, because when the economy all of a sudden starts to get a little weak, right? The first thing people really pull back on is leisure activities, trips, vacations, some of these kinds of things. So some companies you'll want to watch out for. A company like I own, Wynn Resorts, it's a huge one that's in the luxury gaming market. Hawaiian Airlines, the biggest airlines in Hawaii. Definitely, I mean, if people are losing their jobs all of a sudden, not feeling so good about the economy, they're not going to be planning out trips to Hawaii and spending $3,000. Carnival Cruise Lines, another public company you can watch to kind of see what their expectations and numbers are for the next quarter. Not everybody's going to be booking cruises if all of a sudden the economy's, they're feeling they might lose their job or something like that, guys. So pay attention to a lot of those leisure type companies that, people cut back on when times are starting to get hard or are hard in general. Pay attention to those. Number 9 thing I like to pay attention to is companies like FedEx, UPS, the trains, so like Union Pacific, Burlington, Santa Fe, some of those type of train companies, CSX trains. There's only really 4 main train companies in America. You want to pay attention to some of those, FedEx, UPS, and see what their numbers are reporting. What is the management's tone on those conference calls? What's the guidance looking like for those companies? Because those companies are responsible for moving goods all around the United States, right? So if all of a sudden those companies, and some of them are even a little more global, especially in FedEx and UPS's case, but if those companies are all of a sudden feeling like, they're the ones that move products all around, right? So if all of a sudden their business is slowing down substantially, that means there's not as much product moving around, which means there aren't as many people buying product, which is ultimately going to have to come back to the companies, and they're going to probably have to cut jobs, right? And that also means if people aren't buying as much stuff, then they're a little more unconfident in the economy and in themselves and their jobs, and maybe they lost jobs, and that's why they're not buying stuff. So definitely pay attention to FedEx, UPS, the trains, all those type of numbers, guys. Very important to see what goods are coming in and around. Last one, number 10. monthly auto sales numbers. If monthly auto sales numbers slow to, let's say, 10% or more, if they're doing 10% plus less than they did the previous year, that's definitely a big sign of worry, guys. If monthly auto sales, and monthly auto sales come out every single month, if they're doing 10% less than the previous year did, or more than that, definitely a huge sign to worry about there, guys, because when people aren't buying cars as much, it means they're probably a little more worried. An auto purchase is usually the second biggest purchase someone will make after a home. Now, home sales, I don't like to pay attention too much to those as far as the early days, because people buy homes, 3 months out, 6 months out, right? And there's a build time of 3, 6 months, sometimes even 9 months. On a luxury home, it might even be more than a year. So those numbers could still be good as far as home sales go, right? Because the transactions usually record it when the person actually takes that home into possession. So they might have ordered that home 6 months ago to be built, new home sales, right? But they might not get that until 6 months out. So those numbers can look good and kind of fabricate things. Auto sales, not that way. Auto sales are not that way. Auto sales, as soon as they're seen weak, they show that in those monthly auto sales reports, guys. So definitely pay attention to those. And those 10 ways is how you will know if a recession's coming. If you start to see those trends emerging, then there's definitely a huge sign to worry there, guys. And if you see just like one of them, 2 of them, doesn't mean that we're going into recession. But if you're seeing all of these 10, sure, shit, we're going into recession. If you're seeing 5, 6, then we're probably, and if you're seeing 7, 8, then we're more than likely, guys. So keep in mind those 10 for the future and kind of keep track of those, and then you'll know in the future if we're going to have a recession, if we're going into one, and all those kinds of things, guys. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed. Hit that thumbs up button if you did. If you just came across this channel, you may want to subscribe. We talk personal finance in the channel. We talk entrepreneurship. I'm an actual business owner. I give away so many business tips. We talk the stock market, the most of everything. Thank you for watching, guys, and have a great day.